we have a man coming in here with a very interesting backstory. A college athlete, a wilderness ranger who has left it all and started on his entrepreneurial journey to forthrightly get us all out the door and rucking more every day and in every way. I'm talking about the one and only Dan Vinson, founder of Wild Gym. Dan, get in here. Get in here, Dan.
Oh, hey, good evening. Good afternoon, I should say.
Dan, man, you know, if I didn't know better, Dan, I would say that you have a shampoo company because that hair is looking lovely, my friend. I mean, I'm just saying out the door here. But Dan, man, I would love if you would start and just give us some backstory on this. Man, how did you get here? How did you get here? How did you become a founder of a rucking backpack company? Man, I've heard some incredible things about and being an athlete and man, getting in and getting out and finding your way in and out and all of those things. Man, tell us how you got here.
Yeah, you hit on it a little bit, but I'll try and be concise. So I was a college athlete. I was a walk-on actually. So I played lacrosse in college. I got cut my freshman year. Basically spent a year training, trying to get physically prepared to compete at that level because it was, I think one thing to understand is walking on, playing at the Division I level is one thing, but then walking on is probably like, 0.01% of people. So it was a challenge. But finally made the team, didn't really play at all until my senior year. The summer before my senior year, I was a wilderness ranger. So I literally lived in the wild.
Let's go.
So I'm out there and I wanted to stay in shape. So I built like a Rocky IV style weight room. So I was literally squatting logs, lifting rocks.
Come on, baby.
Pull-ups on tree branches. Like the term wild gym has like a literal meaning to it.
I love it.
So I did all that. I came back my senior year, earned a starting role, got a scholarship to come back. I had an extra year of eligibility. So I got to
boom, baby.
Year. So that worked out. Finished school, stayed as a ranger for a few seasons, did a few seasons as a wildland firefighter, and was always kind of in this athlete mindset and always thinking entrepreneurially. I'd done some things on the side, some camps, lacrosse camps, sports camps, training, things like that. Yeah. I've always kind of avoided like getting a real job to the greatest degree possible, but
feel that.
Launched Wild Gym on Kickstarter in 2014. We've done 8 successful Kickstarters. We've raised, I think, over $5 million on Kickstarter.
Incredible, bro.
And incredible. To be honest, like our business model was basically we would just do Kickstarters for the early years. It worked really well. We never really built a real Ecomm funnel until I launched the Ruck in 2023, and that's really what's taken off for like a real D2C e-commerce business, and that's where we are today.
I love it, man. That's
absolutely insane. Yeah, could you talk a little bit about that Kickstarter journey? If I'm a brand listening to this and I want to launch on Kickstarter, I want to be successful. Could you take us through that framework and system for how you're thinking about how I'm going to launch this new Kickstarter? Because you've been through multiple successes at this point.
Brother, you're like the GOAT of Kickstarter.
You're the GOAT of the Kickstarter GOAT.
I had no clue, man. That is incredible.
Yeah. No, we've been particularly successful in the fitness space. There's certainly other brands that have done way more than we have, but we hit it at really the right time. But I think to answer your question, Colin, it's going into it knowing you're going to win ahead of time. So if you go into it, expecting to pull the rabbit out of the hat, you're not going to be successful. Sure. I mean, we were literally, especially in the early days, this was 2014, 2015, 2016, messaging friends, college friends on Facebook, emailing family members, like hunting down every possible reporter, blogger, whoever to basically strong arm them.
Yes.
The campaign. Like, we expect you to back our campaign on day one, because that sets the trajectory for the rest of the campaign. So there's not really in this, this is all over the internet in the sense of, building the audience up front, all that, but that's what it is. There's no magic bullet. It's just, if you do that thing, you're much more likely to be successful.
Absolutely.
And I find the product and your kind of mindset or background for discovering this, bringing it into the world, I find this compelling. I played college sports as well. I played football. And to me, there is a distinct kind of atmosphere or environment or even mindset when you go from exercising in a gym, which I admittedly don't like that much. You spend 4 hours a day doing it, for several years. You
Right.
want to change a pace, but it sounds like there's something compelling about getting outside and doing it in the wild, doing it in creation, and doing it in Mother Nature, and using those logs, and eventually equipping people to get out and ruck and find a way of consistent exercise that helps people elevate who they are and where they're going in life. Do you sense that same kind of distinction? Is that at all in your mind as you were bringing Wild Gym to life?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's like that gym physical aspect where there's more of, I guess, maybe a performance element to it. Right. Whereas with rucking, and particularly just being outside in general, there's a physical side, of course, but my mind felt better is the best way I could describe it.
Sure.
You can go ruck with a friend and have the best ideas for your business when you come back. You can go ruck. Listen, I'm pretty sure, Chris, I listened to you on a podcast while I was out rucking.
All right.
It's really easy to stack multiple things. But I think there's also particularly in today's kind of work environment, you take actions that you don't see the results of for days, weeks, months. Whereas with rucking, there's this literal, every step you're making literal forward progress, which I just think you don't necessarily get to experience all the time.
Wow.
Tell me about the product, Dan, because I think there's a lot of people who would just say hey man, I could just throw a dumbbell in my backpack and let me just load this thing up. Take me into the product and why this thing is unique, helpful for consistent exercise, etc. How did you develop it and how long did it take? Just give us background on that.
Yeah. You certainly can just throw away the backpack. The comfort levels, I think, where you will find a purpose-built ruck really distinguishes itself. So for me, I have a very unique background. I was a wilderness ranger, I was a wildland firefighter, I backcountry bow hunt, I rock climb. I do a lot of these things where carrying heavy weight is kind of foundational and integral to all those things. So our original ruck design was a combination of a hunting backpack and a trail running vest. Two things you would not think about bringing together, but that was kind of the hybrid design. Hunting pack, trail running vest, so it has a contoured aluminum frame that gives it the rigidity. Whereas if you think about your standard kind of hiking, backpacking backpack, you throw in a dense weight, it collapses on itself because it's meant to have the volume filled. So our rucks have the dedicated plate pocket, so it keeps the weight in the proper rucking position the entire time. The ruck does not collapse on itself. You can still carry all your gear in external pockets as well. So that was a real fundamental design thesis. And then basically taking the concept, and now we've released two versions now. So there's the everyday ruck, now we have the feather ruck. That's really, I think, going to be our flagship going forward. And that still has that hunting and trail running vest kind of foundation inspiration, but it also has the built-in hip belt, the adjustable torso. So more of your traditional kind of backpacking pack, but in that streamlined minimalist version. I used to, when I had my first daughter, this was 2020 during COVID, I had the kind of SWAT looking vest, and I'd push her in the stroller walking around the neighborhood. Straps would be super sore. People were looking at me kind of side-eyed. And it wasn't an enjoyable experience. The same thing with I would throw in my backpacking backpack. I'd throw in a bunch of weight, super uncomfortable. And it's you can certainly do it if you don't want to invest in a purpose-built ruck, but I just wanted something that was specifically for that purpose.
Wow. Oh, Chris, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Colin. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we talk a lot about, brands being in person and in-person activations on this show, where we're really leaning into that in 2026 as a thesis, as our show. Your brand lends itself perfectly to that, to this in-person connection, to this, this bond that I'm going to have with a friend. Hey, let's go out into the woods. Let's ruck a little bit. Let's get a good workout in. I'm trying to be fit. You're trying to be fit. Let's go have fun, get off our phones. How are you thinking about those kind of in-person activations and all of that moving forward in 2026?
We need that.
I think it's something we're failing miserably at, to be frank. I mean, it's
honest, though. That's honest.
We're we have a very small team. It's myself, my wife helps out a ton, and we have a handful of part-time or contractors, but we're doing 89% of the work ourselves. So it's like trying to stay focused. There's what you should do versus what you can do, and that is again where we're just failing miserably. But we do try to encourage people just through our content, our newsletter, all that, to get out. But I do think there's no reason why every neighborhood shouldn't have like a ruck club of some sort.
A ruck club, baby.
I love that. I love that.
A wild, actually, no, forget ruck club. They need a wild gym. They need local wild gyms. That's what because it's what I believe and what I think is important is, particularly in the fitness space, there's this maybe emphasis on like the one thing, right? I like to use rucking as a foundation, walking with weight as a foundation, but it's definitely, there's other things built on top of that, whether it's basic calisthenics, it could be yoga, things like that. But I don't, my message is not just ruck and all your problems will be solved. It's maybe rucking might be a great foundation from which you can build and actualize your fitness.
Yeah, and I like this idea of the Ruck Club because, run clubs have, some people would say like the run club thing has like come and gone. I don't think it's exactly gone. Is that fair, Colin? I mean, I don't think the run clubs are gone.
It's still here. It's a little bit modified into a dating scene at this point, but what can you do about it?
But I would say I heard of one this weekend, actually. Maybe it's for slightly older segments, already married or whatever. But I've heard of groups of late 20s, 30s, early 40s, somethings men, and them going out and rucking around Lake Georgetown, just this past weekend, and it was 26 miles. And they, and one guy passed out at mile 19. At mile 19, Dan, he had to call his wife and ask his wife to come pick him up. Okay. And then, he was so embarrassed that he decided he had to go out and do it himself the next weekend. And at mile 18, he had to do the same thing again. Had to call his wife and come pick him up. But I think there's something compelling to this. And I'll say this. There's something about it, Dan, that I'm sure you sell to plenty of females, but there's something about it that feels masculine to me. I hate running. I don't ever want to jog. I don't want to do that. I don't. I would much rather sprint at 40s, 100s than jog. And if you put some weight on my back and you tell me to walk, now I feel tough. I feel masculine. I want to go get out in the hills. Is there anything to that? Do you feel like there's a natural kind of attraction for males' masculinity when it comes to rucking, etc.?
I think that the low T epidemic could be solved by more guys getting out and doing hard things, whether that's working out together, rucking, whatever it is. You just, and I mean that kind of seriously in a way, like when you're in the strength conditioning gym, like there's just an energy of being around a bunch of guys working hard. It can be anything. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be rucking, but anything where there's like a physical pursuit where you're moving forward, that I think is what a lot of people are missing. And I've heard that anecdotally from even a lot of our customers. Like, the male loneliness thing is real. And I think it's a great way to solve it. Like, and it's scalable too, right? Like I live just outside of Boulder, Colorado. So like, you got to be careful here because you say, hey man, you want to go for a run or a ruck? And you don't know who you're talking to because there's a lot of really elite athletes.
All right. I see. I see.
And so with rucking, it's like, I can go with my mom or my dad or whoever, and I can carry a bunch of weight. They can carry lightweight, but we can still kind of go at the same pace. So I think that's what's unique about it in the sense of running. You got to really be on the same wavelength.
That's really interesting.
So interesting.
Yeah, because there's a ton of science right now coming out that the older generation needs to build this strength resistance as they're getting older to get healthier, and rucking is an amazing insert into that, which isn't terribly hard for them to do and pick up. It's not something complicated. How are you? When I think of rucking, I immediately think of military. I think of army. I think of really tough guys, stronger than me, that could probably kill something in this room if they needed to. How are you kind of moving forward with the military operators and partnering with that community at all?
We definitely have a lot of customers that do come from a military background, and we are very appreciative of their service. And we try and make that known from the get go. So
It's awesome.
That's something we for sure do. But I think they're not necessarily who we're trying to speak to first and foremost. I think there's other brands that are doing that better than us, just based on their own roots. So my background, again, is more as an athlete in the outdoors. So we're trying to maybe position and play more in that space. And again, we have tons of customers that are from a military background, and we're very appreciative. But that's not we're not trying to just be another brand like that. I think there's a lot of blue ocean to play in.
Yeah,
absolutely. I love that.
I think you're riding some zeitgeist here too, Dan. I think you're riding some waves with, the new food pyramid, with people taking their health more seriously. There's all kind of sides of this with GLP-1s and et cetera, et cetera. But I think people are looking for ways to take care of themselves more. And to me, like, rucking feels like a natural entry for, maybe I don't have all the energy in the world anymore. And I know I want to have a little weight. I want to get into it. And also this community element, 2023, the Surgeon General released, like, the #1 biggest problem epidemic that we all have is loneliness. And it's the same kind of health effects as burning down several cigs per day, in terms of how it affects our health. And so I want to see more people taking up rucking and doing this together, and wild gyms specifically attached to it. It just seems like there is a real opportunity for forging community in association with your brand and product, and bringing people together and creating memories, in addition to endorphins, in addition to, helping people get healthy. I think there's really something to that, Dan.
I think you're right. And we are built. So I'm actively, I had mentioned, I think we failed miserably. We have failed miserably. Going forward, I'm working we're building a platform. So it would be an app. Hopefully we'll release this summer, but eventually, I'm not sure when that feature would be out, but the main goal would be to connect people ultimately. So,
love it.
Yeah. So I'm super psyched. Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah, that is incredible. I think that's super important. I mean, Chris knows this just from my time in Austin, rucking around the lake sounds amazing. Just that exact, like, that path, and doing that, and hopefully not passing out on mile 18.
Hopefully not.
Would be a really amazing Saturday morning, and just seeing folks out there. It's so helpful.
Dan,
one thing I would have is a comment I'll get a lot is people. It's like, how do you do rucking, right? Like, it's almost too simple, right? It's just walking with weight, but there's something where it's almost so simple. It needs a little more like sexiness to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the simplicity. It's almost like, well, yeah, you just go outside and walk. Oh, that's it. Like, you kind of gotta sexy it up a little bit. So that's also what we're working on as well. So building. So how do you start into it? How can you start and not get hurt? How can you build yourself up for the long game? All those things. So.
Well, I think there's something to it, because I was just mentioning this guy I was listening to talk about it this weekend. He hurt himself. He hurt himself significantly. He got very hurt, which is why he had to come get picked up multiple times. But I like that. I like that. Some entrance, some delineation. This amount of weight, this amount of length, et cetera, et cetera. I think that would be really helpful. Dan, man, we love to hear what you got coming, and we love your backstory. And brother, we appreciate you making the time. And anything else, man, you want to tell us? I would also say you got to tell us, man, where people should go and
go and find you.
So we're wilddgym.com. You can follow me personally. It's Wild Dan Vinson. It's Vinson. Our company, or Wild Gym is Wild. It's at Wild Gym Co. And yeah, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I post pretty much every day. I show a lot of I try and show examples of applied rucking. I like the idea of applied rucking and then opportunities for fitness. You know, I'm a dad. I have 2 girls. We go out.
Yeah.
This way, we were on spring break. We were rock climbing. We were hiking mountains. They're 5 and 7, and I think a lot of parents maybe hold back because they're not, one, maybe physically capable themselves, but unsure of their kids. So that's another part, is just kind of showing what's possible if you take care of yourself physically. So
Absolutely.
I saw that video of you guys climbing with your girls, and I was like, man, this is like the super family. We need to get on this guy's level. Man, it's a very impressive, and man, we love what you do. We appreciate you joining the show, and we look forward to having you back, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Take care. Stay wild, everyone.